The smoke comes under my door before the incense does. My name is Kenji Sato. In '43 I was a lance corporal in the 2nd Battalion, 112th Infantry, 55th Division, in the Arakan jungle of Burma. They had me carrying fuel and maps, listening to villagers whisper about a shrine we were not supposed to touch. I stood inside a circle of fire there once, so hot it peeled skin from men and left the bamboo around us green. That smoke did not stay in Burma. I lie on this thin futon in a concrete block outside Nagoya, listening to the neighbor's television through the wall. Some loud variety show. Laughter that doesn't reach anyone's chest. The red numbers of the clock say 2:17. My wife has been gone 3 years. The corridor light blinks, then hums back to life. The smoke curls first. It slips under the door in a flat line, then lifts as if it remembers how to be air. Sweet, thick. Temple incense from the little household altar down the hall, 2 doors away. It should smell like funerals and New Year prayers. Tonight it smells like burned fat and wet bamboo. I push myself up on my elbows. My knees crack. The futon rustles. The ashtray on the low table is empty, but I hear something in it, a faint hiss, like a drop of water on a hot pan. I reach for the switch. The room light comes on with a soft click. The smoke that has come in under the door hangs low, just at the height of my chest. It moves in a slow circle that the air in this room does not make. It turns around the empty ashtray, once, twice, like it is choosing a place to land. For a moment, I see fingers, gray curled, skin pulled tight and shiny over bone. They close around nothing, just above the tray, then vanish when I blink. Not again, I say. My voice sounds smaller than I remember from the jungle. There is someone sitting at the foot of the futon, where my feet are. I do not hear him sit. He is simply there when I lower my gaze. Bare head, thin jaw, uniform sleeves rolled up the way he always rolled them. Just once, not twice. His eyes are black except where the whites have boiled and turned yellow. Corporal Ishida, I say. He smiles without teeth. Smoke leaks from the corners of his mouth, thin as thread, smelling not of temple incense, but of that night when the drums of fuel went over and the flames ran sideways through the bamboo. From the corridor, someone knocks on a door and laughs. The television next door changes channel. A jingle for instant noodles fills the wall. Nobody outside smells what I smell. Ishida lifts his right hand. The skin is gone from the back of it. Only the palm looks like flesh. He taps his fingers once on his knee. That little drum roll he used to do on ammo crates and helmet rims before he opened his mouth. You brought it back, he says. His voice is the strike of a match in a wet cave. He looks past me, toward the door, where the smoke is still coming in. I told you not to follow, I answer, and the room is suddenly full of jungle heat I should have left on the other side of the world. The smoke thickens. It presses against the ceiling now, then drops and spreads flat, as if something heavy moves through it on all fours. I smell mud, rotting leaves, the sharp green of cut vines. The years between fall away. The wall of my apartment slides aside in my head. Bamboo leans in. Cicadas scream. My uniform itches at my neck again. It is 1943. It is the Arakan jungle, and I am 22. Holding a jerry can that sloshes when I breathe. We move in single file, waist deep in foliage. The air does not move. Sweat runs down my spine and collects where my belt cuts in. Leeches cling to our socks. The officer at the front pushes aside a broadleaf with the lacquered scabbard of his sword. Keep spacing, Sergeant Majima hisses behind me. You want to die in one shell burst, Sato. I widen the gap to the man in front. Private Mori. He carries the light machine gun like it is a sack of rice. Little guy from Tokyo, sleeves too long for him. Spectacles fogged at the corners where his breath escapes the cloth band around his face. He keeps humming under his breath. A tune from some popular song in Ginza. I never remember the words, only the rhythm. Humming again, Corporal Ishida mutters behind me. If he hums when we're close to the British, I'll push him into the first ditch I find. You said that yesterday, I answer, and I'll say it tomorrow. The jungle is layer on layer of green. Tall teak and sal trees above, tangled bamboo in between, creepers like ropes. Somewhere far off, artillery thumps in a lazy, irregular pattern. British guns shelling road junctions, and our positions closer to the coast. Here, inland, along the Mayu Range, it is mostly patrols and rumors. Ghosts on both sides. A shape appears ahead through the leaves. Not a man, not metal. Something square and still. The lieutenant lifts his fist. We halt. Every strap creaks. The buzzing of insects fills the gap where our footsteps were. What is that? Mori whispers. We ease forward one by one. The path opens into a small clearing, no wider than the floor of my apartment. The jungle has stepped back here by a few meters, as if cut and then allowed to grow just enough to make a wall. At the center stands a tree. It is a fig, twisted around itself. Roots like frozen snakes. Its branches spread wide, low enough that a man could reach up and touch them. Strings hang from those branches. Cloth strips of many colors, faded by rain. Red, yellow, brown, a blue that must have been bright once. They twist in no wind. Under the tree, raised on 4 crooked posts, is a small wooden house, no higher than my thigh. The wood is dark with age and smoke. The little roof is thatched. Around its base are bowls, broken pots, empty bottles, bits of bone, coins gone green, dried flowers turned almost black. A shrine. Majima snorts. Village trash, he says. They worship everything except the emperor out here. He steps forward, boots scuffing a line in the damp earth. Something crunches, a snail shell. Inside the little house, something moves. Not much, just a shift of shadow. Sir, Ishida says quietly. Maybe we go around. Waste of time. The lieutenant squints at the tree. His face is narrow, nose sharp. Locals abandoned it. They're up in the hills, or across the lines, feeding the British. Superstition. We are not here to clean their garbage. He looks bored, more worried about maps and rations than a tree. Still, Ishida says, why step in what we can step around? He was from Osaka. His mother had a kamidana on every wall, he once told me. One for the house, one for his father lost in Manchuria, one for the cousin who never came back from Shanghai. He never passed a roadside shrine on patrol without touching it twice with his fingers, like counting coins. Lenzi corporal, Sato the lieutenant says. You speak any of their tongue? A little, sir. I had picked up more than a little. We had been in Burma a year already. Some words. Enough to ask for rice, and whether they've seen our enemies. Fine, he says. Remember this tree. If some villager bows to it, ask why. If the British camp near it, we shell the place. Move on. He turns away first. That's when I hear it. A whisper, from inside the small house. Not Japanese, not English. A burr of consonants, low, like someone talking into their own chest. My skin tightens along my arms. I look at Mori. You hear that? I ask. He pushes his glasses up with his thumb. Hear what? He is already stepping past, humming again, more softly now. The whisper stops. As we file out of the clearing, something brushes my sleeve, light as a moth. I look down. One of the cloth strips from the tree has swung without wind. The end of it rests against my arm. Red, stiff with old stains. Rice, wine, blood. Both smell the same after long enough. I peel it off and let it fall. Behind us, the little house under the fig keeps its shadow. That night, back at the company bivouac, the shrine returns on other men's tongues. It spreads through the bamboo lean-tos and tarp shelters like smoke. Some say it is a nat tree, house of a forest spirit. Some say the British have been seen talking to it. Some say a previous unit tried to cut it down and their axes snapped. We sit in a circle around a small cook fire. A pot of rice steams over it, the lid rattling when bubbles burst. The flames are low. No one wants the British aircraft to see more light than they must. Old men in the village say that tree isn't from here, says Keowang. He squats beside Ishida, thin arms wrapped around his knees. He is a local guide we have used for 3 months, maybe 30 years old, maybe more. Hard to tell. The jungle sucks years away. His sarong is stained with mud. His hair is tied back with a dirty rag. He speaks our language slowly but clearly. Came from where? Mori asks, through a mouthful of rice. From the hill where people were buried long time ago. Ong answers. Before British. Before Burmese kings. He points with his chin, not daring his finger. Hill where they left bodies for animals. Spirits did not go up. They stayed in the wood. Majima snorts. He always snorts when the man talks. You people and your spirits. We have artillery, machine guns, planes. Only spirits the British will see are from our explosives. Ong does not look at him. He looks at the fire. When you cut a tree from there, he says, you do not burn it. You do not build with it. You put it back on the ground. Or, he shrugs. Or what? Mori asks. Ong picks a grain of rice from his lip. Or it remembers, he says. It looks for breath that is not its own. Ishida taps his fingers lightly on his mess tin. 1, 2, 3, 4. He glances at me. You heard it, didn't you? He asks. At the shrine. Heard what? I ask a voice. The pot lid rattles again. Someone on the other side of the circle coughs wetly. Malaria. Half the company shakes at night now. I heard something, I say. What did it say? Mori asks. It did not speak our words, I answer. Maybe it was the wind in the little house. There was no wind, Ishida says. He is right. The air around that tree had been like the inside of a mouth. Hot still. Majima licks his chopsticks clean. Enough, he says. Tomorrow we push west. The British will not retreat forever. Their supply lines are through these villages. Any place the locals bow to, we mark. If we see them gather under that tree, we will do more than listen to stories. He smiles. His teeth are small and even. He pats the satchel beside him, where his maps and orders are. Maybe we give their spirit something new to remember, he says. A spark jumps from the fire. It lands on his sleeve. For a second, the wool darkens and smokes. Then, without reason, the ember flares. Yellow-white, it burns a neat hole through the cloth before he slaps it out, cursing. The smell of charred wool curls around us. It lingers in my nostrils, long after the fire burns down to coals. 2 days later, we return to the clearing. It is earlier in the afternoon than last time. The sun claws its way through gaps in the canopy, sending down pale spears of light that do not touch the ground. The air presses against my face. The sound of insects is a high wall. Our platoon has been ordered to check reports of British patrols, using the shrine as a rendezvous. We move slower now. The British have been fighting hard along the coastal road. Rumors say they are bringing in Indian troops. Gurkhas, men who move in the jungle like it is their own blood. The tree is just ahead. Ishida whispers behind me. Can you feel it? The skin on the back of my neck is tight. Sweat sticks my undershirt to my shoulder blades. My hands are slick on the rifle. Yes, I say we step into the clearing. The tree is as we left it. The cloth strips hang limp. One red strip lies on the ground where I dropped it. It has not rotted. Flies crawl on it and then lift away, unsatisfied. Under the tree, the small house waits. There is something new at its base. 3 smooth stones, dark as river pebbles, arranged like a triangle with the point facing away from the tree. A leaf folded around a lump of rice. A small clay pot no wider than my palm. A offering, says Ong. He has come with us today, despite Majima's mockery. Somebody still comes. British sympathizers, Majima says. Mark the path. We burn it when we are done hunting. He plants the tip of his sword in the earth. The gesture is casual, but the metal flashes. Look, Mori says softly. On the trunk of the fig, near the small house, fresh marks have appeared. 3 long black streaks, like fingers dipped in soot and dragged downward. They start above the roof of the shrine and run to the ground, stopping just before the earth. Who did that? Ishida asks. No one, Ong says quickly. Too quickly. Old stain from lamp smoke. It was not there before, I say. Maybe spirits scrape their backs, Majima says, grinning. To stretch, to wake up. He turns away, waving his hand. Search the perimeter. Sato, take 3 men down that path. If there are British, I want to know. We fan out. For the next hour, the jungle gives us only leeches and spider webs. No tracks, no cigarette butts, no ration tins, no British. When we reassemble in the clearing, the sun has shifted. Light slants across the shrine, touching the cloth strips. For a moment, they glow like fresh blood. Then the light moves on, and they are dull again. No enemy, the lieutenant says. Just sweat and bugs. Majima wipes his face with a rag. He stares at the tree. Then we take away their meeting place, he says. We will not leave a spirit house for them to whisper around. Ong stiffens. You should not, he says. Majima looks at him, as if at a rat. You forget who gives orders here, he says. Ong swallows. His throat bobs. This is hill spirit, he says. It does not belong to village. It belongs to the dead. If you burn this house, fire will not listen. It will go where it wants. Fire goes where fuel tells it, Majima says. And I tell the fuel where to be. He points at me. Sato. Fuel detail tomorrow. To jerry cans from company store. We will cleanse this jungle of superstition. His eye meets mine. There is something in it. Not zeal. Not exactly. A kind of boredom with anything that is not under his boot. I nod, because I must. That night, rain comes. It falls hard and fast, drumming on tarps and helmets, turning paths into brown snakes of mud. We huddle under shelter halves. The rain hammering on canvas sounds like distant machine gun fire. Lightning forks somewhere beyond the ridgeline. Thunder rolls over us, lazy and huge. In the flashes, shapes stand between the trees. I see them out of the corner of my eye, thin, bent, clinging to trunks. Old women with hair like moss. Their mouths are open. No sound comes out. One has hands that reach down to her knees. Another leans backward at an impossible angle, as if her spine is broken, but does not know it yet. I shut my eyes tight. When I open them, there are only trees. Can't sleep. Mori whispers beside me. He is curled on his mat, helmet under his head. Water drips off the edge of the tarp in a steady rhythm behind him. Too wet to sleep, I say. He reaches into his tunic and pulls out a folded piece of paper. The edges are going soft. My sister sent a new photograph, he says. He taps his specs, fogged again. She says Tokyo looks the same, even with the rationing. Lights, streetcars. I should bring her some British souvenirs when I come home. What kind? I ask. He thinks. A spoon, he says, or a cap badge. Something small I can keep in my pocket. He slides the photograph back into his tunic. Don't tell Majima, he says. He'll say it is bad luck. Lightning flashes. For a moment, the print of the photo stands clear inside his pocket through the thin cotton. A girl's face, smiling. Then the dark comes down again. Somewhere beyond the perimeter, a tree cracks and falls under the weight of water. It does not sound like a tree. It sounds like flesh tearing. The next morning, the air is clearer. The rain has washed some of the heat away. Leaves drip slowly. The jungle smells newly cut, like a mouth full of crushed herbs. I go to the company store tent and sign out to jerry cans of fuel. The clerk raises an eyebrow. What are you burning? He asks. British or jungle? Orders, I say. He shrugs and writes my name in the log. The slosh of fuel in the cans is heavy as guilt. We move out again in the afternoon. A small detail. 10 men. Enough to protect the work party, not enough to waste if the British decide to show themselves. The lieutenant stays at the CP. Majima leads us. He walks at the front, sword at his hip, as if going to a ceremony. The canopy is lower today. The air hangs damp around our shoulders. At my side, Mori adjusts the strap of his machine gun. "You think this is wise?" he asks under his breath. "I do not know," I say. "I heard what Keowang said last night," he goes on, "about fire not listening. My grandmother in Tokyo always said there are fires that do not need wood. They only need a name." "What does that mean?" I ask. He shrugs. "Old stories." I remember the shapes and the lightning. Their mouths open. No sound. We reach the clearing. It is the same. The cloth strips. The little house. The 3 black streaks on the trunk are broader now. They look almost like arms reaching down. No birds sing here. No insects hum. The air is heavy, as if the rain has pooled and cannot fall. "All right," Majima says briskly. "Form a perimeter. Mori, set your gun to cover that path. Sato, bring the cans." We spread out. Ishida takes position to my left, rifle ready. His fingers tap a slow pattern on the stock. 1, 2, 3, 4. He does it when he is nervous. Always for taps, never 3. Ong has not come today. He refused. The lieutenant called him a coward. He bowed, eyes down, and did not argue. His absence hangs heavier than his body would have. I carry the jerry cans into the center of the clearing. The ground is soft under my boots. The tree's roots make ridges. The small house stands under the branches, its little floor scattered with new offerings. A fresh flower, somehow, bright yellow. Where did it come from? No village is close enough for someone to come and go unseen. Majima follows me in. He stops before the shrine. For a moment, I think he will remove his cap, as one does before a photograph of the emperor. Instead, he spits on the ground. "You are in Imperial territory now," he says quietly in Japanese, as if the tree can understand. "You will not shelter our enemies." He pulls a rag from his belt, twists open the cap of one jerry can, and soaks the cloth. The smell of gasoline punches my nose. He ties the rag around the end of a stick. "Pour it," he says. My hand hesitates on the can. "Well," he says without looking at me. I tilt the can. Fuel splashes onto the base of the tree. It darkens the bark, runs in little rivulets down the roots. I pour more at the base of the small house, watching the wood drink it. The little offering bowls rock, then settle. The rice leaf absorbs some, then tears. I pour until the can is half empty. The other we leave sealed for now. "Enough," Majima says. "Step back." He lights a match. The tiny flare shakes once in the humid air. It smells of phosphorus and childhood winters. For an instant, the shrine is lit from below, its shadow jumping up the trunk like something trying to escape its own body. The match goes out. He curses, strikes another. This one burns steady. He touches it to the rag. The cloth catches, but slowly. The flame moves as if pushing through thick syrup. When it finally takes, it burns cold. Blue at the base, yellow at the tip. "All right," he says. "Let's offer them progress." He bends to press the burning rag to the roots of the tree. The flame goes out, not like a match in water, not with a hiss. It simply ceases to be. One moment there is light, the next, only a thin curl of gray smoke, rising straight up from the blackened rag. Majima straightens. He looks at the rag, then at the tree. "Wet," he says. I touch the bark. It is dry, drier than the air. My fingers come away clean. No fuel, no moisture. "I poured it," I say. I lift the can and shake it. Liquid sloshes. "We have used half." "Again," he says. He soaks the rag afresh, lights another match. Flame. This time, before he even bends, the flame begins to behave oddly. It leans not toward the wind, there is none but sideways, toward his hand. It stretches along the stick toward his fingers, hungry. He yanks his hand back. The flame bows back to the rag, as if amused. "Hold it," he snaps. "Sato, hold the rag to the roots. I will light it from above." I kneel. The ground is cool. I plant the rag at the base of the tree. The wood beneath it looks ordinary, brown, rough. I can feel the heartbeat in my knees, fast and hard. Majima lights a match and brings it down. The moment before flame touches cloth, the air changes. It tightens. Every hair on my arms lifts. The cloth strips hanging from the branches rise, not with any breeze, but straight up, as if the tree has turned upside down and gravity has followed. I hear something from inside the small house, a breath, long, slow, like someone who has been asleep for a very long time, drawing in air to speak. The match hits the rag. The fire does not spread. It jumps. It leaves the cloth untouched and leaps like a live thing for Majima's bare hand. He shouts. The match and rag both go dark, but his skin does not. Flame runs up his fingers like oil. It is silent. No roar, no crackle, just light. He staggers back, shaking his hand, hitting it against his jacket, against the tree, against the ground. The flame does not care. It clings, thin and white, burning without smoke at first. Water. Someone yells from the perimeter. We have little. Drop, Sergeant. Ishida roars. Roll. Majima falls to his knees, then to his side, thrashing. His hand is no longer a hand. It is a lantern. Bones show through the light, black silhouettes. The fire crawls past his wrist, along his forearm, under the sleeve. The cloth does not catch. It blackens and splits, but does not burn in any way I have seen. The fire prefers the skin beneath. The smell hits us. Not gasoline, not wool, meat. My stomach heaves. I choke it down. Mori rushes in with his canteen. He unscrews the top and throws the water. The stream arcs. For a second, droplets shine in the light from Majima's arm. The water hits. The flame flares brighter. It eats the dampness. It runs up past his elbow, over his shoulder, kisses his cheek. Where it touches, skin tightens and cracks. His eyes are very wide, very white. Get back. The lieutenant's voice shouts in my memory, but he is not here. Only us, only this. Fuel. Ishida snaps. Pour it away from him, away from the tree. Get it away. I seize the half-full jerry can and drag it backward, stumbling. The metal scrapes roots. Fuel sloshes out in little arcs. A drop hits my boot. Cold. Normal. For now. Majima screams once. Just once. Then his voice stops. His mouth opens and opens. No sound. The fire covers his face like a mask. In all this, the tree does not burn. Fuel darkens its roots. The small house under its branches stands untouched. The cloth strips hang straight down again, still, as if painted. Flame licks across the ground. It chooses it, creeps around roots and offerings, and climbs instead onto men. Private Tanaka shouts as a thin white line appears along his sleeve, where a splash of fuel has landed. It is no more than the width of a knife blade. It burns with a steady, hungry calm. Get it off, he howls, clawing at his arm. The fire moves into his fingers. His nails blacken from inside. He beats his hand on the earth. Where his skin touches the dirt, little patches of flame bloom and then vanish, leaving ash-colored prints. There is a word the Burmese use for forest fire. I remember hearing it shouted once when lightning hit a dry hill. It was a loud, running thing on the horizon. The flames had roared, eaten trees, jumped ravines. This is not that. This fire is quiet. It does not need branches. It does not reach for the sky. It moves from flesh to flesh, ignoring what lies between. Mori tries to beat at Tanaka's arm with his own sleeves. The fire touches him. It stutters, as if tasting. Then it runs up his wrist. He drops his machine gun. It falls barrel first, muzzle in the dirt. The stock bounces. Help me, he cries. His glasses steam. The lenses crack down the middle. His hair does not burn, but the skin under it blisters. I move without thinking. I grab him under the shoulders and drag him backward. The ground is suddenly hard and hot. My boots slip. Keep moving, Ishida yells. Get them out of the clearing. Out. We pull the burning men toward the trees. The moment we cross the invisible line, where roots thin, and jungle floor resumes. Something changes. The flames falter. They do not go out. They hesitate. They flicker, as if remembering something. Then they run faster, shriveling what is left. Mori jerks in my arms. My sister, he gasps. The smell is too much. It fills my head. I see his photograph in the lightning again. It burns behind my eyes. Sorry, I say to him, though I do not know what I apologize for. His body slackens. The flames on his chest sink inward, collapsing something soft. Tanaka stops moving too. The fire on his hand gutters out, leaving fingers like black twigs. Behind us, in the clearing, Majima lies on his back. The fire on him does not spread beyond his outline. It clings to him like a second skin, thin and white. After a while, that feels like forever, it lifts. It peels off him in strips of light, rising, twisting, then thinning into threads that the still air should not carry anywhere. They gather under the tree. They vanish into the small house, as if poured. When it is over, there is no ash. Majima's body is not there. His uniform lies flat on the ground, empty. A belt buckle, buttons, a ring he wore on his left hand lies in the middle of the jacket, as if placed there. The only marks on the soil are black ovals. 5 of them, where his feet and hands and head must have been at the last moment. They look like shadows burned into stone. Count the men, Ishida rasps. We do. 2 dead, 1 gone. 2 with burns on their hands where they tried to help, blisters forming where no flame touched them directly. The tree stands. The fuel can I dragged lies on its side. A little fuel has leaked. It has not caught fire. The rag we used earlier is now dry and gray. Somewhere far off, a bird calls. The sound is wrong here. It dies as if swallowed. We report this, I say. Ishida looks at me. His face is gray under the dirt. What do we report? He asks. Careless handling of fuel. Enemy incendiary attack. Men panic, run into their own fire. No. I say, then what? He says. His hand shakes once, then steadies, tapping 1, 2, 3, 4 against his rifle. That the tree refused to burn? That the fire chose him? He jerks his chin at the empty uniform. If we say that, they will say we are sick with fever, he says. They will send us to the rear. They will write that Sergeant Majima died bravely in action. His family will receive a notice. His name will be carved on a stone. He stares at the small house under the tree. And here, his name will go somewhere else, he says softly. We leave the clearing. We leave the tree. We do not burn it. That night, the jungle glows. Not like a forest fire. No orange crowns on hillsides. Thin strands of light thread between trunks, low and close to the ground, slipping under ferns, climbing vines. They flicker in and out, like somebody walking with 100 tiny lamps cupped in their hands. Men wake screaming. Some say they dreamed of home on fire. Some say they smelled their father's clothes burning in a city they have not seen for years. One man claws at his own face until his fingernails leave furrows. I lie on my mat and stare at the dark. Above me, on the underside of the tarp, a pattern slowly appears. It starts as a faint discoloration, then it darkens. 3 long streaks, black and wet-looking, running down directly over where my face would be if I sat up. I do not. The next days, we fight. The British push harder along the coast. Their artillery walks inland. We are ordered forward and back, holding and yielding ground in a slow dance. Men fall not to spirits, but to bullets and shell fragments. The jungle takes them the same way it takes everything else. Quietly. The shrine sits just beyond our regular patrol zone, like a tooth we do not touch. Then someone decides we must. It comes from higher up. Regimental headquarters. A directive that speaks of enemy morale, of local superstition, of neutralizing psychological strongpoints. Someone has heard rumors that villagers and Indian soldiers both bow to a certain tree. Someone wants it gone. The order is written plain. Destroy any non-imperial religious structures within the zone of operations that may be aiding the enemy. The map has a red circle on it, right where the tree stands. Company commander reads the order in his tent. His face gives nothing away. He calls the platoon leaders. I am outside, within earshot, pretending not to hear. We already tried once, my lieutenant says. His voice is low. It went badly. Then you will try again with more discipline, the captain says. The division staff expects results. They do not want the locals thinking their old gods stand, while ours fall back. There are no gods there, the lieutenant says. Only bad fuel and rumors. The captain cuts him off. I do not want rumors. I want that shrine gone. Use explosives if you must. Just bring me proof. Proof. The word sits in my gut like a stone. That afternoon, we assemble a larger party. 2 squads. A demolition man with satchel charges. An assistant with fuses. Keoang is dragged along by 2 soldiers, his arms bound loosely. Not as a prisoner, but as someone they do not trust to walk away. He stumbles beside me, eyes fixed on the ground. You pledged to guide us, I say quietly. Why did you warn us before, then? He does not lift his head. I guide the living, he says, and I warn the living. After that, it is not my hand. You knew, I say. You knew what would happen. He shakes his head once. I know what has happened before, he answers. I do not know what it will choose each time. What is it? I ask. He exhales through his nose. Almost a laugh, but not. In my village, we say some trees grow where a person's breath cannot leave the ground, he says. The wind cannot carry it away. The hill holds it. Breath becomes heat. Heat becomes hunger. If you build a house for that, you must feed it with rice and smoke and flowers. If you neglect it, it looks around. What does it want? I ask. He glances up once, briefly. It does not want, he says. It remembers. That is worse. He says no more. We enter the clearing like men going into a room where something died yesterday and was not buried right. The tree waits. The black streaks on the trunk have spread. They cover almost the entire side facing us, a curtain of soot-colored lines that stop at the ground. The small house beneath is unchanged. A new offering rests at its base. A strip of cloth, bright white, folded neatly. Looks like a challenge, says the demolition man Kuroda. He is short and broad, arms like bundles of rope. He has blown bridges in China, bunkers in Malaya. Explosives obey him. He pats the satchel on his hip as if at a dog. We do this quickly, the lieutenant says. Charges at the base. No open fire. No fuel. We step back and let the Emperor's powder do the work. He says it like an order to the sky. We form a loose ring around the clearing, rifles ready. Not for the tree. For anything else that might smell weakness. British patrols, Gurkhas, panthers, if the jungle had any left. Kuroda approaches the tree. He steps carefully around the offerings. Not out of respect. Habit trained not to trip his own charges. He kneels and starts packing explosives into the crooks, where roots meet trunk. How much? The lieutenant asks. Enough to bring down a house, Kuroda says. Maybe not the tree itself, but it will not enjoy the meal. His assistant measures fuses. Hands move. Wire snakes. The air feels thick again. I smell incense, fresh, not from the jungle. From a temple, from home. The little shrine in my mother's house where she lit sticks every morning before opening the shop, but there is no smoke. The cloth strips above us start to move. They sway slowly, together, not like separate pieces of cloth, like fingers flexing. Wind picking up, someone mutters. There is no wind. The leaves at the edge of the clearing do not stir. A bit more, under this root, Kuroda says. He pushes the last sausage of explosive into place. His assistant cuts the fuse and hands him the free end. Ready? He says. Everyone back, the lieutenant orders. Behind the first line of trees. Kuroda, you take cover behind that log. We will detonate from there. Kuroda nods. He walks backward from the tree, paying out the fuse. His boots leave deep prints in the damp soil. At 10 meters, he stops. There is an old fallen trunk there hath good cover against splinters. He ducks behind it. The rest of us fall back into positions where trunks and earth will shield us. Light it, the lieutenant says. Kuroda strikes a match. He holds it to the fuse. The black cord catches, hissing. A small snake of sparks creeps along it toward the tree. Count Kuroda says under his breath. 1, 2, 3. The hiss is steady. I watch it, muscles coiled. Then, halfway between Kuroda and the tree, the spark stops. It does not die. It hangs, a bright bead on the fuse, pulsing. The sound changes. It becomes a crackling whisper, like words spoken through dry leaves. Fuse is wet, the lieutenant says. It should still burn through. It does not. The bright bead swells, then splits. Flame drops off the fuse. It falls not to the ground but sideways, as if the air itself is sloped. It slides along an invisible surface, gathers itself, and then moves toward Kuroda. He stares, frozen. The flame reaches his hand. That is when it remembers. It is the same thin, white hunger I saw on Majima's arm. It runs over his skin before he can yank it away. Up his wrist, under his sleeve. Not again, Ishida whispers. Kuroda screams. He falls backward over the log. His boots kick in the air. The fuse on the ground, severed, burns harmlessly in both directions for a second and then goes out, as if embarrassed. Get him away from the charges, the lieutenant shouts. We move, but the fire moves faster. It surges up his arm, across his chest, down his side. His uniform blackens under it but does not catch. It is the meat that surrenders. The flame looks almost clean. No smoke, no sparks. Stop, 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 Kuroda babbles. I didn't, his words choke off. His face goes rigid. The fire crosses his throat. The charges at the base of the tree sit quiet. Their fuses smolder for a moment and then seem to pull their sparks back into themselves, like a snail withdrawing. They do not explode. The tree does not move. The cloth strips overhead wave gently, as if in a breeze we cannot feel. Pull him, Ishida shouts. Two men grab Kuroda's legs, trying to drag him clear of the log. The fire crawls down their hands like a spill. One lets go with a cry, clutching his wrist. The other holds on a moment longer, jaw clenched. Then his resolve breaks too. He stumbles back, slapping his hands against his own chest to put out flames that pay his effort no respect. I cannot move. My legs will not obey. My eyes are glued to the little house under the tree. Its doorway is dark, but in that darkness, something glows. Not a flame, a face, not human, not animal, a mask that is not carved. Long, narrow eyes, a mouth too wide, filled with teeth that are not teeth, but slivers of bone, shells, people's offerings related to the dead. They arrange themselves into a grin that is older than us. The glow fills the doorway just long enough for me to see it. Then it is gone. In the space of that heartbeat, the fire makes its choice. It leaves Kuroda. It lifts off his body in thin sheets, like the skin of milk from a boiled pot. They rise, shiver, then tilt. They do not go to the charges. They do not go to the tree. They come toward us. Down, Ishida barks. We scatter. The sheets of light skim the ground where our legs were a moment before. Where they touch a boot tip or a knee, they leave small gifts. A line of scorched leather. A blister forming through cloth. Men curse. One falls, grabs his shin, howls as the fire finds skin. I throw myself behind a tree trunk. My chest slams into rough bark. The impact knocks the air from my lungs. I taste the copper of blood where I bite my tongue. On the other side of cover, I hear sobbing breaths. Mother, mother, mother. It's Mori's voice. I risk a glance. He is curled on the ground, arms over his head. The sheets of flame have passed over him. One lands on his dropped machine gun. The metal gives a little pop. When the flame lifts, the weapon's barrel is bowed in the middle, as if it had been left in a forge and then bent by a giant hand. No explosion, no shrapnel, just the quiet reshaping of steel. The sheets of light gather again in the center of the clearing. They hover over the empty uniform Majima left days ago. For a second, his outline is back, made entirely of brightness. Then it collapses in on itself, a column of pale fire as thick as a man. It rises under the tree. The cloth strips flare, not burning, just brightening, each one as if a candle had been lit inside. Then, with a sound like a sharp intake of breath, everything goes dark. No fire, no glow. The charges at the base of the tree sit untouched. Kuroda's body lies beside the log. Unlike Majima, he has not vanished. His skin is a map of cooked meat. His eyes are open, staring at the small house. His mouth is stretched halfway between a scream and a laugh. We stand in a ring of silence, rifles useless, breath loud. Fall back, the lieutenant says, eventually. His voice is hoarse. We are leaving, and the charges? Someone asks. Leave them, he says. Sir, regulations, do you want to touch them? He snaps. You go and touch them. I will write your name. No one moves. We withdraw. No one speaks on the way back. The report we file is simple. Demolition attempt failed due to faulty fuses and enemy interference. 1 NCO killed in action. 2 wounded. No mention of white fire. No mention of a tree that will not burn. But the jungle knows. 2 nights later, a British artillery barrage falls short. Shells intended for the road slam into the slopes above our position. Trees explode. Splinters whistle through camp. Men dive into slit trenches. Mud and leaves rain down. When it is over, we crawl out and count the living. A shell has hit an old standing tree near the edge of camp. It has split it in half. The wood inside burns with ordinary orange flames. Smoke coils up, smelling of resin. In that smoke, for a moment, I smell something else. Gasoline, wool, burned skin. I turn away. My hands shake. Your lighter, Ishida says quietly. We stand behind a supply tent, where the canvas hides us from the others. What about it? I ask. Throw it away, he says. I frown. It is just a lighter, I say. A little brass thing I bought from a merchant in Rangoon. It has a crane engraved on one side. I have used it to light cigarettes, stoves, candles. It is how it will come to you, he says. We carry what we invite. His fingers drum on his thigh. 1, 2, 3, 4. After the war, he says, if we go home, they will burn incense at temples for the dead. For men like Mori, like Kuroda, lighters, candles, coals in braziers. All those little fires, and none of them will know where the first flame walked. You think it can cross water? I ask. Go from here to home. He looks toward the dark jungle. It has already crossed more than that, he says. In the end, I do not throw the lighter away. Before we retreat from the Arakan, before disease and British pressure force us back through the mud and bamboo, a shell hits the supply area. The store tent burns. Crates of ammunition cook off. Smoke rolls over the camp. I never see the lighter again. I tell myself it melted there. Years later, back in Japan, my wife buys incense. We live in a small house then, on the edge of town. She sets up a butsudan in the corner for my parents, for her grandparents. She lights sticks in the morning. The smoke curls pleasingly. It smells of home. I watch it. Some mornings, it goes straight up. Some mornings, it takes a different path. On those days, it slides down, hanging low around the floor, curling under the table, around my ankles. It remembers. Our son dies at 2 years old, from a fever. The doctor says there was nothing to be done. We cremate him. The fire at the crematorium is ordinary. Big, roaring, impersonal. But when we bring the urn home and set it in the butsudan, the incense behaves strangely. It burns faster. 3 sticks should last an hour. They vanish in half that time. The ash does not fall straight. It twists. Tiny gray threads that look like the cloth strips on a tree. My wife says it is a sign that his spirit is active, restless. She lights more. At night, I wake to the smell of burned meat. There is no fire in the house, only the little glow from the altar. A red coal at the end of an incense stick that never seems to get shorter. I move us to a concrete apartment after she dies. No Butsudan, no shrine, but neighbors have theirs. They burn incense for ancestors I have never met. The smoke seeps through outlets, under doors, through the cracks around old window frames. It finds me. It brings with it sounds. Mori humming under his breath. Ishida's fingers on his rifle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kuroda counting as the fuse burns. The breath inside the little house under the fig tree. Tonight, in my apartment, the smoke has chosen again. It gathers above the ashtray, filling the air at chest height. It thickens, layer by layer, like wet cloth laid over invisible shoulders. A shape sits across from me at the low table. I do not want to look up. I do. He is there, Majima, or what is left of him, not flesh, not exactly. Light in the shape of a man, edges frayed. His face is both burned and not. The outlines of his features shift, as if someone is remembering them badly. You did not burn it, he says. His voice is the scrape of charred wood under boots. No, I say. We left it. You left me, he says. I tried, I answer. We pulled the others. You were already gone. He lifts his hand. It is no longer a hand. It is a white shape with fingers that taper into nothing. He spreads them. The light between them is bright, brighter than the room's naked bulb. What did you bring back, Sato? He asks. The door rattles. Someone in the hallway has passed, bumping it. The sound jerks me half out of the vision. For a second, the room is normal. Low table, thin futon, old television. No officer at the foot of my bed. Then I smell it. Not incense, not cigarettes. Wet jungle, rotting offerings, kerosene. It is under my skin now, in my lungs. I did not bring it, I say. It followed. Things only follow what they recognize, he says. He leans forward. The light around him bends. Do you remember their names? He asks. Mori, Kuroda, Tanaka. Men whose families burned incense for them on islands far from Burma. Flames in temple courtyards, in city alleys, in farmhouse kitchens. Yes, I say. My throat tightens. I do not, Majima says. It has mine now. I am only what burned. He tilts his head, as if listening. Somewhere, a car passes outside, tires on wet asphalt. The neighbor's television laughs. A woman in the building coughs. You hear it? He asks. I hold my breath. At first, nothing. Then, very faint, from the direction of the window. Behind the glass in concrete and night, a sound reaches in. Cicadas, loud, layered. Not the polite little things that sing in Japanese summers. This is a wall of noise. The Arakan jungle at dusk. Open it, Majima says. I stand. My legs are stiff. I cross the room. My hand rests on the window latch. I do not want to. I turn it. The window slides a hand's breadth. The city air should come in. Diesel, frying food. Cold, instead. It is hot, wet. It smells of mud and leaves, and the faint sour temps of old rice rotting in bowls, left at a tree. Beyond the glass, the view has changed. There is no apartment block opposite. No blinking neon sign. No narrow street. There is a clearing. The fig tree stands there, ropes of root casting shadows. The cloth strips hang still. The small house beneath is dark. I am 3 floors up, but the view is as if my face is level with the shrine. In the little house, something moves. A glow. Not white this time. Red, like a coal at the end of incense. It swells. It pulses. With each pulse, the room behind me warms. The wallpaper peels a little. The paint on the ceiling cracks, as if someone has run a blowtorch over it. My skin prickles. Behind me, the futon catches fire. I hear it. The soft hoomp of ignition. I turn my head. The blanket burns in a line. Not from edge to edge. From the place where my chest had been a moment ago, when I was lying down. The fire traces the shape of my body. Shoulders, hips, legs. without touching the fabric elsewhere. I move back from the window. The fire does not spread outward. It stays in that outline, brightening, eating down into the mattress as if following a path carved long ago. Stop, I say stupidly, to no one. Behind the fire, at the low table, shadows sit. Mori is there, glasses cracked, fingers blackened. He is folding and unfolding the photograph in his hands. Though it is ash, Kuroda taps a dead fuse on the wood. Tanaka stares at his own hands, which are smudges of darkness. We had offerings, Mori says. His voice echoes as if spoken in a metal tube. Rice, flowers, cigarettes. Did they reach? I don't know, I say. You gave it better food, Kuroda says. Names with uniforms. Fire that does not go out. The outline of my body on the futon burns down to the floor. The tatami mat underneath blackens. Smoke crawls along the base of the wall, low and deliberate. The fire does not touch the slippers by the door. It does not touch the table legs. It does not touch the little plastic bucket under the sink where I keep kitchen scraps. It is choosing. It is here now, Ishida says quietly. He sits in the corner I had not looked at, not burned, not glowing. Just there, knees drawn up, fingers tapping on his shin. Why? I ask. He cocks his head. You knew its name, he says. You were the one who listened. You were the one who poured. You were the one who walked away. I came home. I say I worked. I married. I tend altars. He interrupts. Even when you think you do not. Memories are altars. Smoke is smoke. The world is not wide enough to keep them apart forever. The fire at the window's edge licks the sill. The view beyond shifts. For a moment, I see the city again. The gray face of the building opposite. A laundry line. Then the jungle returns. Thicker, closer. The trees' lower branches are level with my eyes now. In the little house, the red coal blossoms. It becomes an eye. It blinks once. A lid made of light sliding over a pupil as deep as any river. I do the only thing that makes sense to the part of me that 22-year-old Lance Corporal Sato left behind. I bow. Not to the officer at the table. Not to the men in the corners. To the window. To the tree. To the thing that remembers. My forehead touches the floor. It is hot. The skin on my brow tightens. I smell my own hair singe. Kenji, my wife's voice says in my ear, but she has been dead 3 years. You are bowing to the wrong place. Maybe. I keep my head down. Over the crackle of the controlled, careful fire that traces my silhouette. Over the distant cicadas. Over the neighbor's television, which somehow is still playing a commercial for shampoo. I hear another sound. A breath. Long. Slow. From very far away. From a hill in Burma, where bodies were left for animals. From a fig tree that drank that breath, and never let it go. From a little house raised on posts, and fed with rice and flowers, and eventually men. It moves through the window, under the door, in the smoke, in the history between. It settles over me like a hand. Heat pushes against my back. My bones ache as if someone is drawing them out, stretching them into new shapes. My fingers press into the tatami, leaving black prints that smolder but do not catch. I do not look up. I do not want to see what my reflection looks like in its eye. You can leave, Mori says from the table. You can put it all out. Call the fire brigade. Move apartments. Move cities. It will follow the next stick of incense. The next match. The next lighter. Then what do? I ask, voice muffled against the floor. Talk, Ishida says. Before your breath is not yours anymore. The shadow of a branch passes over the wall, where no tree stands outside. It leaves a mark like soot, 3 long streaks. I speak. I tell the room about the first time we saw the shrine, about the cloth strips that did not move in wind that was not there, about the black streaks on the trunk, about Majima's hand, about Kuroda's fuse, about Mori's photograph, about the offerings, about Koong's warning, about the charges that would not explode, about the sheets of white fire. Words spill out of me with the same sick feeling as pouring fuel. The more I speak, The more the fire on the floor settles. It does not go out. It holds. It keeps my outline and waits. I do not know how long I talk. The clock on the wall clicks from 2:17 to 3:02 at some point. The neighbor's television finally goes quiet. Somewhere, a train passes, a distant metallic rumble. When I run out of things to say, the room listens for a moment longer. The heat presses one last time, then it lifts. The cicadas cut off like someone closing a door. The view outside the window snaps back. Apartment block, laundry, a cat on a balcony railing, licking its paw. The air that comes in is cold and smells of rain. The outline of my body on the floor stays. Charred mat, blackened padding. The pattern is too precise to be from any fallen lamp or dropped cigarette. If the landlord ever asks, I will say it was an accident. A heater left on, old wiring. He will nod, grumble, take my deposit. The marks on the wall, the 3 black streaks, remain faint but visible. The ashtray on the table is full now, but I did not smoke. Inside it, a thin layer of gray dust lies in a perfect circle. In it are 5 small impressions, like where fingers pressed once. Ishida is gone. Mori is gone. Kuroda is gone. Only the smell lingers. I sit back on my heels. My knees shake. My hands are blistered where they pressed into the hot mat. Little white bubbles of skin, like the ones I saw on other men's fingers in the jungle. They sting. I do not bandage them. I want to see them tomorrow, so I remember. There is no neat lesson, no moral, only a tree that did not burn and men who did. If you are still here, listening, with your hand on your mouse or your thumb on a screen, with a candle somewhere in your house, a stove, a lighter in your pocket, you can stay. You can listen to more stories that do not stop when the words end. You can let them follow you into the dark between rooms when the lights go off and something, somewhere, takes a slow breath near the flame you thought you controlled. 2nd Battalion, 112th Infantry Regiment, 55th Division, Imperial Japanese Army, Arakan Jungle, Burma, 1943.